Come on, Remy, hurry up.
I am hurrying.
The food is in the cooler. Get into the kitchen and find the other rats. They'll tell you what to do.
So you want me to take food? I'm not sure that's right.
Son, it's for the colony.
The colony, I know, Dad.
Remember, to find the other rats, try sniffing them out.
And here we are in the kitchen, the heart and soul of Gusteau's. There, where the cake is being prepared, is the patisserie. That is the dishwashing area and the stove, where we saute, poach, and grill our creations to perfection. Followed by the canapé area, where they make the soup. And finally, the cold storage, where the best ingredients are kept. Are you ready to explore the most famous kitchen in all of Paris?
Yes, I am Auguste. Welcome back everyone to Ratatouille. Once again, I must apologize if you can hear the washer-dryer running in the room. It should be done in a few minutes. Once again, the time says that it's gonna take a certain amount of time, and then it just doesn't, so I don't really know what to do about that. Anyway, a lot of cutting around in this video because there's something about this game, and I am playing through another game, another similar platforming game right now, but I'm doing it in that one too, where I just want to get all the stuff, I want to, get all the points, in this case all the stars and whatnot in the area, and, just get to all the different places you can get to, but I'm not doing it, as part of what the game wants me to do, because obviously all of the tasks that I have to do in this level, which, I fucking died, all the tasks that I have to do in this level are going to take me to these places, but, yeah, I just felt like doing it, but anyway, after a lot of running around and not really doing anything of worth, and almost getting my ass clapped by Mrs. Woman Chef, led me up to this part where, as you can see, I am trying to get up to the first dream sequence of this level. And I think the only dream level in this level. And I found out you're supposed to do it a different way. I think you might see it later on in the video. I don't remember if I cut it out or not, but you're supposed to go up... yawning. You're supposed to go up on the trash can closer to Colette, and then inch your way past the lobster, and then somehow get up there without getting hit by the lobster, which I don't understand how they expect you to do that. And then there's one of those launch things. I don't know what you call them. Catapult? Yeah, or Ratapult is what they're called in the game. Excuse me. And that takes you up to where the dream is, but I did it by hopping on the pot. So, take that, world. I figured out how to beat the game without doing what they wanted, and I think those sponge platforms collapse. I'm not too sure. This is a very intimidating level to me, and yeah, I keep looking back and thinking that there's something in the other direction or something that I'm missing, but no, it's just dirty dishes. Why am I yawning so much? It's like 4 p.m. Just because I've been lazy all day, because it's Sunday when I'm recording this, and Sunday is chill the fuck out day, because that's what it's supposed to be, in my opinion. That reminds me of when I had a grocery store job. I worked in the deli in a grocery store here in the city. It sucked ass, if you can imagine. I don't think there's anybody who has a job at a grocery store and they're like, oh, it's phenomenal. But, I mean, there's probably some psychopath who does, but whatever. Couldn't be me. Anyway, when I had that job, I remember, well, I don't remember, because now I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was talking about. When I had that job, I was told at the beginning, as you often are, to say which days of the week, if any, you definitely can't come in. And I was like thinking, well, I need at least one day out of the week where I'm not expected to go to work. That's usually how I feel in general whenever I'm looking for work, is I need at least one day, preferably on the weekend for obvious reasons, where I can just be at my house all day. So that way I have time to take care of everything I need to take care of, and like if I have any errands to run, if I have anything going on around the house, whatever, I have time to just do that at my own pace, and I have time to also chill out, because I hate having days where all 7 days of the week are just filled with doing shit, and I feel like I can't sit the fuck down for any extended period of time. So I was like, well, I'll just arbitrarily choose Sunday as my day where I don't need to come in. And he was like, you definitely, it's always, you need Sunday. I have something going on Sunday. And I stupidly gave the game away, and I was like, well, I really just need 1 week out of the day where I can take care of everything for the week, and Sunday's just the easiest day to do it. And he's like, well, that fucks things up, because Sunday's one of our busiest days because it's on the weekend. And I wanted to say, I don't really care, but I just said, like, okay, fuck it, whatever, do whatever you want, you're gonna make me come in whenever anyway, so whatever. But he put it down as Sunday, and then, like, 2 weeks later, the manager of the store, like, the manager, because that was my manager of the deli who did that. But then the manager of the store called me while I was at work on the, like, deli phone, and he was like, hey, I heard, why did you make it so you don't come in on Sundays? Like, that really messes stuff up. So we need everybody we can get on Sundays because it's a busy day. And I was like, I explained to what it was, and I was like, I can come in on Sundays if you need me to. It's not that big a deal. Like, I just really don't want to work 7 days a week because I can't. And I was like, it doesn't matter. And he was like, well, why did you put that down? I was like, he told me to put down if I wanted any days of the week where I didn't want to work, and I don't, so I picked that one. And now everyone's upset I picked the wrong answer or whatever. And he was just pissed off. And that was my first real interaction with him, except for when I was applying for the job. And he just talked to me with a little stank in his voice from then on, and it wasn't very fun. But then again, what grocery store job is very fun? Except maybe being the manager. No, I guess you don't enjoy it, but you at least have power over other people. That was a classic rat move there, by the way, the scampering back. I love the scurrying move in this game. It's really cool. I love just scurrying around like a little rodent and going fast. I wish there were more places in the game where you could just do long, uninterrupted ones, but you always bump into shit, and there's different levels to the ground and whatnot. It's tough being a rat, man. But yeah, this is, you're supposed to do all of this shit that I'm doing right now, in conjunction with actual tasks, but I'm just sticking around. So, you know, just exploring the kitchen. Which, by the way, we will be back here. This is not the last time that we are going to be in the Gusteau's kitchen. It's going to look a little bit different next time. It's also going to be much harder next time. There's going to be some added pots. But, yeah, I don't know. And here I was getting ahead of myself, and because, yeah, you need to go over there, and I'm amazing. Yeah, you need to start the mission for it to be, there's supposed to be an umbrella there that you can take down, and I thought it was going to be there, and blah blah blah. I also love how I went up the string so that I could go across and then go down and walk over there. Like, I have the best brain of all time.
You need to get to the main gas switch and turn it off so all the kitchen burners will go out. That should grab the humans' attention for a moment.
One thing that I could talk about is, you know, I talked last time about, you know, going back through, you know, things from childhood and looking back at stuff from the 2000s and everything. And it's funny because one of the things that I feel a lot when I think about that time, you know, obviously it's weird that a lot of the most comforting things for me from that era, and when I say that era, just know from now on pretty much that I'm referring specifically to like 03 to 07, 08. And just because that was the last time where anytime after that I had, like, you know, adolescent problems. Everything else before that were very childish problems that really didn't, like, cause me all that much daily stress. But instead, they were that I was scared of things, which I think is pretty normal for a small child living in a pretty comfortable living situation, where there's not really anything stressing you, which I would say was the case in my childhood. I wasn't really stressed about anything. There were things that upset me, and there were things that, you know, freaked me out, as always, but, or as with anybody. But, nothing like you have when you are an adolescent or an adult, and you have, like, active anxieties, and they're not about anything that's happening at the time necessarily. They're just, like, about your life in general. Like, they're just things about your situation and who you are that are bothersome or causing problems for you. So that period of time was really the last time that I didn't feel any of those. That's kind of like the cutoff point for what I would call childhood for me. And it was during that time that, you know, most of these games that I've been playing on here came out, and I played them a lot. And the movies that they're based on and everything came out, and I got my fucking ass kicked by a lobster. This part takes forever. It's incredibly tedious getting around this kitchen. And here I thought that I was gonna be just a super daredevil and just scamper across LaRosa's workstation there, but Colette saved me by yelling at Linguini. And yeah, now we get to do a cooking section, where we get to control the human and make the food, and it's pretty fun. Tight. Yeah, this is funny. Being up in the hat and walking around as Linguini's little hopping ass. I'm really bad at these because, as I've said before, the buttons don't really correspond to the buttons on the actual controller I'm using. Also, I think Liv was talking to me when I was playing this, so I make a lot of dumb mistakes in these. Because there are, I think, 3 of them over the course of this level. Anyway, but yeah, so you're scared of things when you're a kid, blah blah blah. I had that, and I was a little bit scared of this movie. I actually left the theater in the part where he goes to the kitchen, and I left like around the time that they were like slamming at Remy trying to get at him, which is so it's not like, this isn't a violent movie by, get the fuck out of my way, Colette, Jesus. This isn't a violent movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know what I found scary about it. I know I was very squeamish about blood when I was a kid, like incredibly squeamish around blood. And I still, it has to be pretty like gory or graphic for it to really like get a reaction out of me at this point in my life, but when I was a little kid, there were movies that I wouldn't see just because they seemed like movies that could have bloody parts, and I didn't know for sure that they didn't. And like, I would ask people every time I was watching a movie I had never seen if there's blood in it, and I probably sound like a fucking idiot, and you know, I kind of was. It was a nightmare at school whenever we would watch movies at school. Especially because we would watch some fucked up movies when I was in school. Like, I think I honestly had reason to be so anxious. And I know that the reason that I didn't like blood it wasn't because, like, you know, it was gross or whatever. It was because whatever happened to the person, I would think about happening to me, and I would get really anxious about it. And so, like, my stomach would hurt, and I would feel icky. And so my teachers would think that I'm, like, just deathly, like, squeamish around blood. Like, the sight of it makes me faint. But not really, because, like, when I would bleed, I wouldn't have much reaction to it. I mean, other than if it hurt, I would say, ow. But you know, it wasn't really that so much. It was just, I would think about whatever happening to me, and I didn't like it. And again, we watched some stuff in class that I like. I'm not that embarrassed about being a little kid and not being cool with. Like, a lot of those Christian films I watched, I think about this all the time. I think over the course of my 12-year Catholic school education, I watched like 24 different filmic interpretations of the crucifixion of Jesus. Like, you know, and most of them don't really hold back on it. If you're wondering why I'm just shifting the camera back and forth, I'm trying to remember exactly where I'm supposed to be umbrellaing down to. It's the little ratapult next to the chef boy, if you couldn't tell. But I know you have to get up on that, like, fuse box thing and up in the top corner. But I was trying to remember if you get down the other... I just didn't remember, so I had to think about it for a really long time. And yeah, ultimately, that is what helped me figure it out. I remembered the sniff move. I always forget about that. I forgot about an open season, too, where you can use the sniffing move. And now I'm just waiting for Skinner's stupid ass to get out of here. This motherfucker really takes, like, 2 seconds and then sees a rat fly away from him and is like, oh, alright, it's not my problem. I mean, that's probably how I would feel, too, if I were doing work and a rat came up, but then it just flew away. I'd be like, yeah, alright, someone else deal with it. But yeah, like, I had a nightmare once in school about this animated film. I remember it vividly, and I actually found it on YouTube and watched a little bit of it. But it's like an Easter story movie, so it's a story of, like, Jesus' resurrection and death. And probably should have said that in a different order. But we watched it, I think, twice around Good Friday, or on Good Friday in class when I was in like 3rd grade, and it's this like 30-minute direct-to-video animated movie where these kids like go back in time. It was part of a series. They had another one on David and Goliath, which was also quite like bloody. And they have the part where what's his fuck, Peter or whatever, I don't remember who it is, but one of Jesus' apostles, when the Romans are trying to arrest him after the Last Supper, he takes one of their swords and cuts off the guy's ear, and they show this in the movie, and I hated it. It bugged the fuck out of me. I just kept thinking about getting your ear cut off, and then I went home and I saw an episode of All That where they had a sketch where Drake Bell went to the barber and Amanda Bynes cut off his ear, and I had a nightmare of getting my ear cut off, and so for like a year, I would sleep with a pillow over my head, because I always sleep on my side, so I would sleep with a pillow over my head because I would get paranoid about someone if they came into my bedroom. They would be able to cut off my ear unless it were covered up. That's something that I spent a lot of time thinking about as a kid when I was going to bed, is like, I want to be in a position where if someone broke in here, they wouldn't bother with me. And I don't know why I was so concerned with that, but, you know, you see or hear one thing as a kid of something like that happening, and then, you know, if you're like me, if anything, thinking about this, which I was when I was playing this, because I was thinking about that part of the movie that I left during, I'm trying to think of other movies that I, like, might have left halfway through. I came back, I went to the bathroom. That was my move, is I would go to the bathroom. That's what I did during the, movies in school. There were some movies in school that were just, they bothered me the entire time, or they were bloody the whole time, so I would literally just stay in the bathroom the entire time. And the teachers would get pissed off. They would be like, you know, this is part of a class. Like, you're watching this for a reason. And, I mean, I still passed fucking classes, so I guess eventually they just got over it. But I would be fucked if we had, like, a quiz on any of the movies. I would just eat that shit. Like, I either would ask people in the class what happened, or I would just fail them. And it never ended up being a problem, so whatever. Thinking about that, that just proves to me that I really am not all that much different. Because I'm anxious about stupid stuff and stuff that could happen now. It's just a little bit more reasonable and not stuff that happens in fiction and is really crazy, but yeah. Anyway, I'll continue these wonderful thoughts in the next one. See you on Wednesday for that.